Let's talk about the number one source of anxiety that I am seeing in the dating world right now, especially for anxiously attached individuals, and that is texting, messaging anxiety. Let me know if this sounds familiar. So you wake up one morning and you don't have that good morning message from him. That's fine. So you send one, good morning, my love. Hope you have a great day. And you don't get that response back. It's been 1 hour, it's been 2 hours, and now you're freaking out, wondering what is going on? Why are they not responding? And you're going through all the messages, checking if you've said something wrong or if they have left a sign that they are now ghosting you or pulling back in any way, and you're obsessively checking your phone. You can't focus on your work, and your brain is just spiraling and going into all sorts of directions. You're wondering if he's ghosting you, if you're breaking up, and then all of a sudden, they message you. Hello, love. I've had a really busy morning in work. Apologies. How's your day going? Oh, that relief that we can feel when we receive that message. And then we feel a bit silly for being in such a state of anxiety over not having a response back right away. And we're just so excited, we respond immediately, and then the cycle returns again. We find ourselves staying up late at night, over analyzing text if they haven't responded, and the whole thing can just feel really exhausting. So, this is where we're at today, my loves, talking about what we call messaging anxiety. We're going to break down what is really going on and why waiting for a response is wrecking your nervous system, how this ties back into our anxious attachment style, and how we can create some relief when this happens. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Relationship Rehab Podcast. My name is Samantha. I am your attachment trauma specialist and relationship coach. And on this podcast, we talk all things attachment styles, love, breakups, relationships, and dating, especially if you identify with having an anxious attachment style. So, welcome if you're new here, or welcome back if you are someone who has been around for a while. And if so, I would love for you to invite you to rate and review this podcast if you have gotten so much value from the episodes. That is something that you can do for me as a thank you, so more people can get access to these episodes, to this message and information, so they can also start to work on healing their attachment styles and have more healthier and secure relationships. All right, so a client of mine starts working with me, and she is a powerhouse of a woman. I'm low-key intimidated by her as well. She is that powerful. She's got her own business. She's just this go-getting type A ambitious woman. And on the surface, seems like nothing affects her whatsoever. And we're working on her abandonment wound and regulating her nervous system. And she is doing so, so well in her program while she steps out back into the dating world. And then she meets a man that she really likes. Now, this is quite rare, that we meet someone that we vibe with, that we connect with, that we can feel that spark with. But all of a sudden, I'm now witnessing this mature powerhouse of a woman going into her inner child state, anxious, needy. The messaging support that she has in between calls starts to ramp up as she starts to overanalyze every text message she receives from this man, noticing the time frame in between messages, telling me, I haven't heard from him in 2 hours. What do you think he's doing? Do you think he doesn't like me anymore? She couldn't focus in her work. Her own business was starting to suffer from it. She would reread the last three messages back to me, wondering what is going on. Why is he not responding immediately? Saying things to me like, if he really liked me, he would just be constantly messaging me throughout the day, right? And she'd convince herself that there was something wrong. She would spiral into panic and anxiety and wouldn't be able to sleep because of this. We had to take a step back and look at what was really happening underneath all of this. And what I was observing in her as well, that when he did respond, because the time frame was not to the expectations of what she wanted, and this protective mechanism that comes through of expecting text messages back right away because of what we're making it mean. Just like my client here, I'm making it mean that they're obviously not that interested in me if they're not responding right away. And what this can do then is amplify this energy within us of like, why am I even bothering? Why am I even entertaining this connection if they can't make the effort to respond right away? Because I'm making that effort, I'm responding right away. And I think with the modern world as it is right now, where everybody's glued to their phones, we almost have these expectations that, yes, we should be responding to each other right away. And that in and of itself causes a lot of anxiety. And I'm seeing a lot of people turning off that blue tick on their WhatsApp because they don't want the other person to see that they've read that message. Because now there's this unspoken expectation that you have to respond, when the reality is some people don't have the capacity, whether it's time or energy, to be able to respond right then in the moment. I know I go through this. I see the message, I'm in the middle of something, but I want to give my energy and time to this person because they deserve it. I don't want to just send them a half-hearted response back. So yes, I will wait for maybe an hour if that's what it takes. But we do have these underlying expectation that is driven by this anxiety that they should just message back. And when they don't, we're wondering, should we just pull away from this person because maybe they're an avoidant? And now we're in a fearful state that we might be going back into our normal default patterns of being with avoidance, that this is a red flag, that they're not responding right away. And we set those boundaries out of protection, protecting ourselves from being hurt again. And we even play them at their own game. So, another thing that I've noticed about men, not all men, some men don't really like texting. And sometimes their texts can be half hearted, where they just be like, okay, cool. And a lot of us take that on then as that's how we should respond back. So we match their energy that they are bringing to the connection, when really it's the other way around. We want to shift their energy by being in our own energy, by responding to how it feels authentic to us. Because of the anxious attachment style that we have, we typically tend to fall hard. We typically tend to romanticize and fantasize about this person that we really like, because one, maybe it just doesn't happen a lot of the time. And two, we often mistake intensity for intimacy. So if we felt that initial spark, if we're like, oh, this person is perfect, they tick all my boxes, they're attractive, they're ambitious, they're all the things, we can start to get into our own heads and start to create visions and fantasies of how we want this relationship to go. And we subconsciously want to quicken the process to get to that spot. And because we're playing this on repeat, our reality of the situation can sometimes become a little bit distorted because of this premature attachment. It can feel like you're developing a relationship very quickly. So this is all happening, and it is one of the most common things that I see in all my anxiously attached clients is this messaging anxiety. We're this calm, confident, ambitious woman, and then all of a sudden we get involved with a man, and it's like everything goes out the window, and we turn into this little child, this little teenager, this lovesick puppy love teenager. So it's not about the fact that we are regressing back into that state. So don't panic. We're not going crazy. This is all about us trying to feel safe in connection, in relationship to others, when our early attachment experiences didn't necessarily feel safe. Our abandonment wounds are being triggered. And when we find someone we really like, our nervous system is activated and is already wired to see silence as somewhat of a threat. If they're pulling away, then it must only mean one thing, and that is that they are no longer interested, when that's not necessarily the case. So let's break down the psychology of what's happening here from an attachment style lens. If you identify with an anxious attachment, silence feels like abandonment. It feels like rejection. And we have these subconscious patterns of tying our self-worth, our sense of significance, and our happiness to the amount of attention and approval that we are getting from this person or men in general. Now, the avoidantly attached individual, silence may feel like relief or space, and creating space can be a protective mechanism to sustain a sense of self, to relieve any pressure that they may be feeling, and to set the tone for their connection. Like I said, if they're sending you a message saying, I don't really like texting, that is them telling them, I am not available to be texting you constantly through the day. Now, that is something that we need to pull back and be like, is this something that I can manage? Is this an invitation for me now to lean into a more secure attachment where we're not constantly on each other's phones all day? And who has time for that? I think on the surface, you don't want to be texting all day. You have other stuff to do. You have a business to run. You have friends to see. You have the gym to go to. It's all comes back to that safety part. I want to feel connected to you. And when I feel connected to you, when I receive those responses and those replies, I feel safe in this connection. I am relieved of those already existing fears and stories and narratives that are circulating my attachment system of I'm going to be abandoned, I'm going to be rejected, I'm not liked for who I am. And that creates a sense of relief. So the problem isn't in the texting or the time frames, it's the attachment, the meaning that you apply to it. Whereas the more securely attached woman or man, silence is neutral. It doesn't mean anything. It is not a threat. It is just a sign that someone is busy and going about their day. Now, if you're talking like days upon end where they haven't responded, maybe there is information there for you to see, is this person actually interested in me? And I'm going to do a whole episode and I'll link it in the show notes below once it's been recorded of whether this is a sign of avoidant attachment or whether they're just not interested in you. But use your discernment here. Are we talking a couple of hours or are we talking a couple of days? If it's a couple of days, there might be information for you to look into and be like, is this person actually interested in pursuing the connection with me? If it's a couple of hours, is it actually my attachment system being activated right now into a state of anxiety? And that is on me to be able to regulate that, to be able to create some space, some distance, to be able to let this connection breathe, to give this person time to get back to me. So I know firsthand how torturous it can feel when you're waiting for that response back. It completely ruins your day and you feel like you can't focus on anything, that you're just feeling this gripping sensation in your chest and in your stomach, and you're finding it difficult to breathe until you've gotten that response back from them. And you feel like you want to tell them, just respond already. And this is all because we want to feel safe. And the way that we feel safe is through close proximity. Again, going back to those early attachment experiences, when we are close to that primary caregiver or parent, when they are attentive, when they are engaged with us, we feel safe, we feel connected. As soon as there's space, whether it's physical or emotional space between child and parent, it feels unsafe. It feels like the attachment is at risk, it's at threat. So we do all that we can to be able to sustain the attachment, to be able to get those feel good feelings that we have when that person is connected to us physically and emotionally. The same happens when we become adults in these situations. The protective mechanisms, coping mechanisms that we then apply in the moment can be very similar to what used to work back then as a survival strategy when we were a child. So what this could look like is leaning in, maybe double texting, triple texting. Is everything okay? Just get back to me, let me know. And it's all us having these kind of bids for connection. I just want to feel safe. Just let me know that we're okay. It could also look like defensiveness. I can't trust this person. I think this is not the person for me. If they can't respond to me within a couple of hours, I'm not entertaining it. And we almost allow the ego to take over us in that moment. And we start to set those boundaries, very harsh boundaries, as a protective mechanism because we've been so hurt in the past, because maybe we said something a little bit vulnerable in the last test message. And we're like, I shouldn't have said that. And you're trying to delete the message. Or it could look like complete distraction. I'm not going to check my phone, but I'm going to distract myself. I'm going to numb myself. And we completely shut ourselves down as we pour ourselves maybe into work or exercise or the TV or social media. But at the back of the mind, we're just constantly wondering, are they texting us? Are they texting us? And we're looking at our phones and we're really trying not to. This is the default coping mechanisms that we fall into. And I want to offer some healthier ones that is going to support you in feeling a bit more calm and in control while you're in these spiraling situations. So, the most important thing that we need to lean into when we are anxiously attached and spiraling in anxiety is regulating our nervous system. My loves, I cannot say this enough that unless we master nervous system regulation, we are always going to struggle in dating and relationships if you have an anxious attachment. And why this is because when we are triggered, so when they don't respond, when they take space, when they say something, whatever that trigger is, we then go into a fight or flight state. And how this shows up for us, especially, is in a state of anxiety and fear. Anxiety lives in the chest, fear lives in the gut. Both could be activated in this moment. And until we are aware, until we have those tools to be able to down regulate our nervous system, we're going to fall into those default patterns that I've just described because the abandonment wound is being poked and prodded right now by that trigger. So put your phone away and do some somatic practices. I have a somatic practice that you can follow in my free ebook, The High Achiever's Guide to Healing Anxious Attachment. So if you haven't already got a free copy of that book, go ahead in the link in the show notes, go and download that and do that somatic practice that is in phase 2 of the ebook. And what this looks like is doing some breath work to move the anxiety, because anxiety is an emotion and emotions are energy in motion. We need to release that anxiety. So by doing breath work or any type of movement practices, so in the video, I also show you how to do some somatic shaking to shake it out, shake out that anxiety and be able to regulate your nervous system to get you back into that calm and grounded state. Now, this is step 1, because if we skip this step, we are now reacting from a place of wounding. We are now reacting from a place of anxiety. Being able to get our thinking brain back online before we do anything else is absolutely crucial. Can't say that enough. And then we want to be able to reframe what's actually happening. So start to pull out some of the stories and the narratives that are going around in your mind. They're losing interest in me. They are ghosting me. They are finding someone better. Whatever it is, I want you to write it down. And I want you to see, is this a truth? Is it a distorted truth? It's reflecting an experience that you have had in the past. Is it a story and a narrative that has come from somewhere? By reframing it as something that is a story rather than the absolute truth, in and of itself, create some relief. But then I want you to reframe it. That his lack of reply right now is not a reflection of me, is not a reflection of the message that I sent. It is information for me to be able to see. Is this the type of connection that I want to have? Is this because he is just busy at work? He's going to respond to me later on in the day. If he doesn't, again, information for me to get curious about. Is this something that I want to continue pursuing? Is this a conversation that I need to have with this person? If it's a long, drawn out time frame, that is actually not healthy. So we're talking days, not so much a couple of hours. So by grounding into that self-awareness and self-attunement, we can start to notice any anxious attachment patterns that are at play. Are you chasing? Are you leaning in? What are you feeling right now? And what do you need in that moment to create some relief? Get in touch with your inner child who is seeking that approval and attention and close proximity so she feels safe. How can you attend to her in that moment? And then start to make some secure mindset shifts. And this could look like detaching from the outcome, allowing and surrendering to the connection flowing as it is. Detachment is one of the most crucial skills that we can develop when it comes to developing a secure attachment. And I will be offering a free masterclass all about mastering the art of detachment in September next month. So the link may be down in the show notes below. You can sign up already to get into that masterclass. Until then, My free ebook is there ready to download, and they will take you through 3 phases to be able to start to heal your anxious attachment. It will help you identify what patterns are at play. It has that somatic practice in it that I was telling you about, and then it will help you shift into your secure woman energy of how you want to respond and be in relation to the situation that is currently triggering you. So, my loves, I want you to know that you are not alone. This is one of the most common triggers that we have. You can start to create some relief by going ahead and downloading that new ebook that is in the show notes below. And also, don't be afraid to talk about what is happening for you. Speak to friends and family that feel safe. If they don't, reach out to communities where you can ask questions and seek some support. My Facebook community is completely free. You can go ahead and join that. And I assure you, if you put something in that group that you are struggling with this, so many of us are going to be able to relate. Also, I'd love to invite you to drop a comment, whether you're watching this on YouTube or on the podcast. There will be a comment section. Pop it in the comments that this is something that you're struggling with, and see how many people resonate, and read on other people's comments of how they are maybe overcoming these situations and what works for them. As always, I'm sending you all my love and light. Thank you so much for being here. Share this with a friend that may need to hear this message as well. And drop me a DM if you do want to speak privately about these struggles and you want to start your personal journey of healing anxious attachment style in one of my coaching programs. Until next time, sending you all the love and light, and I'll see you in the next episode.